Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Hope all is well for everybody tuning in today. Or if you're catching us on YouTube later, hello, hi, welcome. We're just doing some regular stuff to get us going today. Training some artisans, getting everyone... if you've missed some of the previous streams and we've talked about sort of what we're doing here with all of our artisans, our base goal right now is getting everyone to electrical level 35. Hey, Up Chaos, CL Gamer, Felix, welcome, welcome. Happy to have everyone in. Ruth, welcome, welcome. We need to feed all of the artisans today. Yes. We did stockpile some food and water a little while back when I felt the prices were pretty low. I do a lot of buying food and water personally. I don't do too much making stuff myself. I did only get 60 life science recently, so I didn't feel like this was something I was doing a lot of. Welcome, Cacao, Ruler, Miyumo. Welcome. Happy to have everyone. Happy Thanksgiving. Yes, happy Turkey Day if you are one of our American friends. And, of course, we're always finishing up these electrical researches on stream day as they started the night before, which is fantastic. Hey, Winnie Frederick, welcome on in. Bright Aurora, welcome, welcome. Okay, a lot of apprentice electrical today. I feel that we have piled up a good amount of apprentice electrical. We are going to go and have a look at the professions. Yeah, looks like we've got like a couple of weeks worth just built up, slowly piling up there. We've got some master, but we're sort of at a standstill because we can't level up our own electrical to artisan yet. It's not something that's available, so we've been focusing primarily on fabrication in the meantime, and just whatever else we've got the papers for. Like machining has been a bit of a focus. Like we'll go to these chem labs and we'll do, in case anyone wasn't aware, repair broken power cell 3 is an amazing combination if you have the broken power cells of electrical, chemistry, machining. Like look at those XP drop rates. Pretty good. 150 artisan is not unlocked for players yet. Hello, Magic Mike, Taltos, welcome. Yeah, we got a couple papers piled up there. I think we we are going to be aiming to read chapter 3 today. We'll see how our voice holds up for this, though. Hello, Nuboko, Kelly, welcome. So yeah, that's a pretty good way for raising up our machining XP. Right now we just have a lot of people doing the battery conditioning. So you drain the cells basically and give a lot of XP, electrical XP, to a artisan for relatively low stamina. So we've been doing this to train up all of our artisans who are under 35 to get everyone up to 35 electrical. I'm trying to remember, can I sort by electrical and look at the lowest? Yeah, okay, so I've got one down here at 29 who is currently training. Okay. Then I think everyone else is at 35 now. The ones who were kind of lagging behind were like our mining, our master miner here, but they're all the way up. Chipuelo, welcome. Got your epic rover works. Congratulations, Nuboko. Why are we going to 35 electrical? That's a good question. So, it's 25 electrical on your solar panels in order to do charge power cell 2. So if you would like to automate this task, you need to get all the artisans up to 35 to automate charge power cell 2. In the training hall, there's a daily task with a timed event. It looks like skills are coming in about a week. If there is Up Chaos, that's news to me, but that's cool. Yeah, congrats, Nuboko. Like, getting a fancy rover works is pretty solid. Is the goal for level 60 Martisans, or why only 35? So 60 is a possibility in the future. With my high electrical level, it's definitely a consideration to use all those apprentice papers that I make in order to help them out and get them trained up. But also, that's a very expensive endeavor. Yeah, Power Cell 3 is fine, but I produce plenty of power with 2 with how many solars I have, right? So it's not that 3 isn't better, it's just that I produce enough power with the setup that I have. Look at the bottom in the training hall. Yeah, okay, we'll go exploring. So what are we talking about? In the bottom of our training hall, we have daytime restricted tasks. We have aerospace, cooking, some other things coming in a set number of days. There you go. Hey, good find there, Up Chaos. Brutal Days, Cell Power, welcome, welcome. Do we have composters for rent? We don't currently have them available for rent as far as I'm aware. Oh, let me get these energy cores charging. We gotta buy some more energy cores from the marketplace. So for anyone who is not aware, we have talked about it on previous streams, but energy cores are gonna be a thing that certain buildings can only be charged with energy cores, not just power cells. So you're gonna want to get lots of energy cores ready and prepped for the introduction of those buildings. Can't afford to miss this awesome stream. Welcome, Nazmule. How do you rent composters? I don't have any set up for renting right now. I mean, I might turn some on if people really want them, but I think people tend to mess with the moisture levels too much. I don't trust other people to manage the moisture level, right? Any chance you can put one for rent for really expensive so no one can afford it, but we can go in and see the tasks? Oh, yeah, sure, I could do this. So I can at least go, like, 1,000 rent. Well, but I think there's some instant tasks. Maybe I'm wrong. I'll set everything to 1,000, and then, you know, no one should be messing with anything. Oh, right. Okay, hold on. I think everything broke in my settlement. So this is, if you're someone who's living in the settlement, please help. Please clean the air in the things. If people don't do this regularly, which I had set to be free to do, doesn't cost anything. I just need people to go clean them. If people don't clean them, everything shuts down. Hey, Babster, welcome, welcome. So yeah, people need to clean the air out of these habitats, or else buildings in the settlement do shut down and become unavailable for rent. Yep. And I think it might actually kick Martisans out of their placements as well, but I'm not 100%. I don't think, maybe. But yeah. Try and make your way around. Try and clear the hazards out of these things regularly. It doesn't cost anything to do so. It gives you a little bit of free XP if you do. I never mind doing this, but I'm not always available, and some of these run out pretty quickly. And making sure all these are currently rentable is important so that people can actually do it. So yeah, these are turned on, so you do pay a cost, but 0 for all these. And there's no time component to clean air, right? So this is just free for you to do. Martisans stay, okay. I just saw there was some people complaining about Martisans doing some shuffling recently. This one, same thing, so we'll clean out the air, and then we'll turn on the rent, so that anybody can clean it out again. And we got 2 more to run around and go visit. Power cells stock is still pretty good. Turn rent on. Is it? Oh, right. Oh, it's gonna let us. No, it's not. Okay. It just thinks it is. Yeah, okay. There we go. And last one, okay. Oh, okay. This one's got loads of. So you can see the higher level habitats are filling up a lot slower than the lower level ones, which is good. All right, cool. So we fixed all the habitats, so the settlement's running properly again. That's great. You saw we're doing machining. After running around and recharging a bunch of stuff, maybe we have a few more broken power cells. Not really, not that many. My shelters are always red and they don't get kicked out. It's that I really don't use the shelter missions. Ah, gotcha, yeah. We have some shelters somewhere here. Yeah, shelters in the red. We just don't use these, really. But they're places to store the artisans for now. The settlement also, by the way, is getting an extension. I just haven't put in the time to name and add this little guy over here. We've got... Well, we should be doing some of our regular stuff here. So we should be doing, like, Rusty Rigs. I'll definitely let you guys know if I ever win Rusty Rigs off stream. But, you know, if anyone is tracking, I think we've lost a lot and we've won 0. So right now, are people, if you're someone with a couple of artisans, are you automating a lot of your artisans? Are you planning them out, like, strategically to do that? Because for a period of time, I had automated all my artisans on these solar panels, but I didn't do it in a smart manner. I just sort of kept adding more and moving them, and their tasks were getting paused because I didn't figure out, like, who had enough stamina to do stuff, and I piled too many automated tasks on one artisan. Planning on buying my first one in a couple weeks. Not yet. Need to understand automation better. Yeah. So what I need to do is sit down and kind of go, okay, you're someone with 20 base stamina, so you're able to do the 13 power cells in a legendary maxed panel, where, like, someone with 12 should be sticking to, like, one rare solar panel, right? Kind of stuff like that. But that's going to take a lot of, like, sitting down and planning. So for now, I'm still doing them manually like this, so I can actually just check, like, oh, you have enough stamina, I can plug you in here. Hey, Koopy Bread, welcome, welcome. We've got a wild cricket appearing. I don't know if she's going to come say hi. I automate the things with a low task length to run while I sleep and work, manually do the rest. Fair enough. Yeah, the XP gain, I think, is significant as well, right? If you don't want to lose the XP from automation. Eat schedule and automation don't match. Things get paused often without, even with planning. Ah, gotcha. I also just, like, I'm still trying to level a lot of my stuff, so I'm not automating too many things, right? I have a long way to go with a lot of these guys to get them to where they need to be. If I'm trying to get them to 60, like, they have a long way to go. Yeah. I think for the really big guys, so there's some people out there with, like, hundreds of artisans, right? Is there a cat back there? Cricket. What? She was right there. Okay, maybe she'll come back. For power, artisans can refill an entire plot. But for tasks, they can do multiple buildings, but, like, they can only do up to the amount of stamina that they have, right? Yeah, there was a cattail there for just a second. She ran past. Maintain order with food and water. Yeah, that's fair. How many artisans do we have? I think we usually hover around 20. I do a lot of, like, swapping and helping people and trading whatever people are looking for. The ones that I kind of hold on to are near the top of the list. Like, anyone with really high skills for the ones that are coming out, right? High entertainment, high cooking, mining just because it's hard to get, cooking, entrepreneurship, and aerospace. So I held on to sort of at least a 50 of each of those guys. And then anyone down here, I'm always happy to swap. If you want, like, electrical, chemistry, like, whatever, I'm always happy to swap anyone down here for anyone who's looking for anything, right? I think most people are... I have all of them trained to 35-ish now. Oh, okay. I have one person left who's at 30. And once we get them up to... Once we get them up to 35, but now I've forgotten who... Oh, it's you. It's the Master Cook. Has a couple more levels to go, and then everyone will be 35. So that's a little bit of that. What did we say we were going to talk about today? What was our stream title? We should probably go look at that. Just now realized I can see my cooking levels. Yeah, so all those were imported recently. Hey, how'd this, Raven? Welcome, welcome. Oh yeah, Raven, we probably gotta buy some stuff. Raven has been making a lot of, Oh, hello. Yeah, come here. It's okay. You got your claw stuck. Oh, here, let me help you. Wait. Oh, whoop. Oh, you poor baby. Come here. Come on. Okay, don't... Or do whatever you want. I don't care. Ah, yes. Yeah, you just have to know which person. Now that they're up at the top of the list. Harder to track people down, right? Oh. That's not who I meant to assign there, but that's fine. As long as they're training somewhere else. We've got a lot of missions coming in now, too. Like... Land surveys starting to finish up, which is exciting. So if anyone needs legendary land deeds, let me know. Got a couple of them coming in. Hey, Jeff. Welcome, welcome. If I understood it wrong, achievements are coming next Tuesday. They might be. I haven't looked at the timeline or the posts for that kind of stuff, but achievements are on the horizon for anyone who wasn't aware. I think there's been plenty of spoilers and leaks and pictures and things of that stuff. I think we're just gonna restart a couple more things here. Just Tanya, welcome, welcome. Start up the last couple of Martisans until we run out of stamina on them, and then we'll move along to some other tasks. We'll try and do some more Rusty Rigs as well. Ike needs deeds? Yeah, okay, we can get... Oh, yeah. We can definitely chat with Ike for sure. Ike's got stuff that we want too, actually. We swapped with Ike for this most recent settlement expansion that's down here. Eric always buys legendary deeds. Oh, that's good. Oh, you're just a bundle of legs today. Hey. Can we jump to a scene that's nope. Nope, we have no scene that's just us full screen. Okay, we'll just whoop. There we go. Whoop. What a cat. There we go. What did we swap? I can't recall exactly. We swapped Ike. I think it was just a pile of wax for, like, these, all these plots down here. But, like, good plots, good buildings, too. Yeah, we've got a chunk up here that we're probably swapping for as well. So we got, like, a mining rig. We got a lot of good life science buildings, too. Like, all, like, some Gen 1 legendary maxed out CADs. Like, a lot of maxed out buildings. Maxed out water filters. Some polar workshops in there. We got, like, a lot of solar panels and things. Probably want to turn all these on for rent at some point, too. We got a thorium reactor in the trade as well. Like a kangaroo archer now, yeah. So for those who don't know, the settlement follows a naming scheme of like A, B, C, D, E, F. A, B, C, D, E, F. Yeah. So each section has this. So this section needs to start with a G, but I was saying like it sort of looks like if this is the arm, then this is the elbow. So I liked the idea of calling this the Gelbow because it is the elbow, but it has to start with a G. I think someone else said gut. Pancake Man, maybe. Which I thought was a good name as well. Now, see, Cricket has messed up. We've got lighting coming from the wrong places now. Yeah. Cricket's way up in our business today. We really didn't finish what we were working on, did we? I hope people appreciate the sporadic style. I feel like we've talked about this on stream before, where like, is everyone else really orderly and goes from building to building? No, I think everyone plays the same way I do, right? Where we like frantically, oh right, I gotta do this. Oh no, I should jump over here. I forgot, I got something else going on. Best way to make nitrogen. In some high-level CADs, with a really good chemistry skill, you can make nitrogen with capture CO2 2 and 3. You get guaranteed nitrogen. Gelbow, yeah, Gelbow's a pretty funny name. Where's that lighting coming from? Cricket like opened up. She messed with my lighting after I started the stream and like tried my best to make sure everything was lit nicely. We could definitely do with a few more, like a little pop-up sort of back here. Maybe something else like top lit, but it doesn't help when she like opens the blinds and like lets the light in, so. I definitely need to like set up a scene for, oh yeah, let me just mess with all these scenes. Delete some of these, yeah, Like, I need a scene that just jumps to, like, me full screen with the chat on the side, I think. Do a little bit of work for that. Get that up there in a little bit. You bought around 1,000 for 0.9. That's not bad. Yeah, I think it's climbing, right? We're just going to use up all the stamina on all the Martisans that we have left. While we do this, we can show, see if I had a separate camera, we could, I do have other webcams, so I can set one up down here and just have it look over at the cat and see what she's doing over there on the floor. I think we're almost out of stamina. Yeah, we just got a little bit more Martisan stamina to use up here, and then we'll do some Rusty Rigs and probably win some stuff to give away. I think we're also going to give away probably a special composter pack today. I think that's the plan. See if we can get some of those opened up. Coffee bean prices increased 600%. That would be on the Discord. Go check out the Discord, look at announcements, and you'll see why people are doing what they're doing with coffee. I think we don't want to use the stamina for that last guy because we're still trying to train him. So we'll leave some stamina available to train up this. We could probably bring it up here. We have a game announcement from someone. Announcements? Coffee, yeah, new life science recipes. So a post from Jumpgate a couple days ago. We'll copy the message link for anyone who wants to go read it. This is why coffee is going up, would be my guess. What can we do with a battery backup? Battery backups are used to build habitats. So they're definitely consumed in the habitat building recipe. But the other thing that I highly recommend people do is go to the wiki if you're ever curious what any specific item does, and search for it. So if we search for battery backup, we can go to that item. So we find the battery back up. We scroll down a little bit. We can see where we can make it. So we can make one in the 3D print shop. And we can see that it's used in making habitats and charting surveys in the engineering bay and the rover works. Can we get a link for the wiki? Yes, for sure. We can definitely link the wiki for people. There you go. Love to watch cricket. Yeah. People tune in for cricket, not for me, right? Yeah, there you go. Ruler has the link for the message there. Okay, so we're pretty wrapped up on Martisan stamina, which means I don't like claiming these ones unless I can reset them, so I actually leave a lot of these. We will go in and start smelting more silicon ourselves. Just kind of get our stamina down a little bit. We're trying to gather up some of the mining XP from doing all that as well. So we'll come here, we'll reset this guy. Hey, James, welcome on in. Reset this guy. Okay, so now we want to do some rusty rigs for people. We'll do like 3 rolls here, see what we get. I was like, how did our Dusk jump up so much? But it's because we just had a survey come in. Look at all that Dusk. Oh boy. Yep, the wiki there is fantastic. If you're like any item, where do I get it? How do I use it? The wiki is like the best tool for that, right? It'll direct you to any of the recipes, any of the buildings, any of that stuff. Huge shout out to Moorcox for all the work on the Wikipedia. On the wiki, sorry. Okay, didn't make our rusty rigs. We will be grabbing... Oh, that's aerospace. Whoops. We will be grabbing a composter pack to give away. Do we join the Access Pack Blend? I think we have joined Access. So we joined this tournament. We've got at least some points for a chance to win. I think we were looking at our inventory to blend packs. Yes, we wanted to like do all these, right? But there's 2 more tournaments, so we'll keep 2 of these so we can enter the last 2 tournaments. We'll get a bunch of Access Blend points, which puts us in 2nd place. So a good chance to win something fun at least. A 30k survey, how do you do that? I'm struggling with profitability. I mean, I just keep taking the Dusk that I get whenever they come back and then buying new surveys, right? Couple of rusty rigs burned through that Dusk. Do I think oxygen will go up with new rocket updates, same like nitrogen? Well, I am not a smart man, but people much smarter than me continue to tell me that rocket fuel is made with X, Y, and Z. I think it's mostly Match who's been posting about what... Like, Google what rocket fuel is made of, and then go buy those things. I mean, we've been hyping up gas because all the gases, I'm sure, like, underutilized right now for what they could be doing, right? Nitrogen, oxygen, methane, like, there's so many gases now that exist, right? Anyway, I think we're going to buy this guy. This is what we're going to give away today. Yeah, so our Dusk at the beginning of the stream here was 35 because we had a 25,000 survey come in a couple days ago. We had another 25,000 survey come in on stream just now. So, I mean, we were sitting around 10,000, then we had 2 surveys come in. That's why it's up so high. And we might just send them out again, honestly. I don't mind, like, the 3 months, but getting these land deeds is crazy. Anyway, we're going to buy this guy. We're going to tuck it away somewhere, and we're going to give it away to somebody on stream. I just can't remember if this guy... You'd rather degen all the packs? Oh, it's such a bad idea. Oh, chat, that's a terrible idea. If we spend all our Dusk on this instead of this, aren't we way... Yeah, we're spending like 1,000 more on average. Do it, but only get to 4K. I mean, we'll degen a couple, all right? 35 scavenging XP. Okay, we will buy this one. Then we have something to guaranteed give away on stream. And then we'll spend a little bit more on those degen packs. Think about all that XP. Yeah, I don't know about that one. Okay, we'll buy this one. Yes. This is the one we'll give away, like, near the end of the stream today. So, everyone is hoping... Does this open immediately? Does this give us a pack? I think this opens immediately. Okay. Unless it's specifically a mythic, then we'll hold on to it. But anything below a mythic, even a legendary, we'll give away legendary and lower. Yeah, it's gonna give us a legendary right away here, and then we'll give that away to chat. You want? Yeah, I mean, if it's a mythic, I'll be pumped. I'll take it. All right. Common it is. As expected. Alright, but we've got a common composter to give away today at the end of the stream. Excuse me. And then, of course, we'll do, like, as many degen rolls as we can afford to. Look at that fabrication XP. Oh, man. I mean, we could... Nah, we'll wait. We'll buy some more stuff later. We'll do a little bit more running around. We have some stuff left to reset. I don't think we're going to touch any power because we don't have Martisans to put into any of that power. Some more rare shards for the worms. Yeah, I think people... oh, this is... See, what I'm after is... I need 45 reactor shards in order to unlock Charge Core 3. Because I've got the electrical level to do this, I just need to get this thorium reactor all the way up to level 6. Oh yeah, how many worms do people have now? What are we sitting on? 8 and 10. But we're actually managing our moisture. I know some people, like, really messed up and their moisture levels were getting out of hand. Yeah, 45 uncommon shards is going to be a tough time. Lots here. We finished training machining, it looks like. 7 worms, 3 worms, right on. I think we should probably just grab some extra journeyman, because all these are waiting on papers, right? Oh, not mining. Okay, mining is waiting on XP, but everything else is waiting on papers. So let's buy some journeyman research papers. So not mining, not fabrication. We do need life science. Let's just buy like 9 of these for 150. Let's buy a bunch of chemistry for 150. Let's buy some machining we have enough of, so we're short on XP there, and 9 of these for 150. With the new cell percent break rate, does it look at your level or the Martisan assigned when refilling cells? Martisans can... Oh, you mean the Martisans who are auto-refilling? I think it cares about yours, not theirs. Would be my guess, but I'm not 100% sure. So there's no robotics research out there. That's interesting. So maybe we'll buy some lower level robotics research and we'll roll it ourselves. Oh yeah, give me like 30 of these for 35. And watch me. Oh, where's all the robotics research? Do people just buy out all of it? We need to buy this so we can level it up. Don't buy away my chem papers. I don't know. I mean, I guess I'll do all these low ones myself. So if I needed 30, so I need 90 of these for like this. All right. Yeah, give me my 90 common papers. I'll make all the papers myself, I guess. All right, so we go to the shop. We go to profession. We go to robotics. We make all these basic papers so that we can make 80% of 39. What do we think, chat? 39, 80. 31.2 is the average. What does chat think? What are your best guesses? All right. Closest guess without going over Price is Right rules. We'll give 5 common composter shards. So get your guesses in now. $33, $32. No one has guessed like $31? 31 should be pretty common. Oh, it's out of 13, not 39. Don't mind me. Just us forgetting how math works again. Anything over 13 is not possible. Oh boy. Yeah, 10 is our average. Congrats to whoever figured that out early. Magic Mike. 0 to 13 are the numbers we're picking from. Really just nailing it today. Alright. Rolling the papers. Looks like 10. 10 it is. Magic Mike is going to get 5 common composter shards. Congrats. Yep. I'm like, give me the 13 papers. Or 10 is what's possible. And give us that last one. That'd be nice. Sweet. Alright. Now we got some papers to keep some skills going while we're streaming today. So we can keep some of these things training up. We'll do life science. And yeah, congrats to Magic Mike. 5 composter shards are all yours. I think we're pretty much done resetting things. So now we're doing a little bit of Rusty Rigs, a little bit of cruising around, and then mostly talking about the most recent leaks. Oh, right, and we are still working on leveling our fabrication, and I do have lots of people within the settlement who are graciously making me all these fabrication papers. So thank you to Raven for those. That's pretty much an entire half a survey gone, but we're really focused on leveling our fabrication. Trying to get that guy. Trying to get this all the way up to, I mean, 125 would be a nice start. How many points does the access badge give in the tournament? 10 points. Excuse me. Okay, now we are going to have a look at some leaks. Let's see. Where's our thing? Where's our stuff? What are we looking for? Where's the leaks gone? Leaks, leaks, leaks. Doot, doot, doot. Oh, where the cat disappeared. Okay, we've already looked at these. We looked at the fish on the last stream. It wasn't so much, not a leak now because it's been out for a little bit, but for anyone who hasn't seen it, the inventory has been updated. So new fancy look for our inventory. We've got everything split into nice categories. If you want to go track down your resources, your tools, your things, you can really easily switch between categories now. Shards are all in one place. Oh yeah, and we've got our founders drop, last founder drop coming today, which pretty exciting. We're gonna get to that leak. It's the last one on the list there. We're going to open this guy to talk about. So this was basically allowing people who are helping to manage settlements. So someone like Gargantu for me helps manage a lot of my settlement stuff. This allows Gargantu to install buildings that are in the manager's wallet, not necessarily my wallet, to help manage the settlement. So in the future, I'd love to have be in a place where I have enough managers to run all those different named sections of the Cheese Oasis. That'd be super cool, right? So that's something that's coming that's pretty sweet. Pretty excited about. We've got achievements. Achievements are coming. Here we go. Here's a short look at one of them. But basically tells you how many people have done it up in the top corner. A picture of it here, what you need to do to complete it, and then depending on when you complete achievements, so achievements are going to be a bit of a race, it'll highlight who finishes them when. So if you're the first person to finish different achievements, your name's going to be up there. It's there forever. So, particularly if you're someone who can hunt down like the rare achievements, the fancy ones, the ones that are a little bit harder to figure out, yeah, you'll get your name up there for a really long time, and people will try and figure out, you know, you'll have lots of people getting in touch with you asking, like, how'd you do it? Where'd you find it? What'd you do? So last leak in here that we haven't looked at yet that I think is pretty huge is this guy. So, if anyone has not seen this, this is the last founder drop. This is coming today. I don't think... I can say much more than that. Just looking at, like, where are my notes? What am I allowed to talk about? This! It's coming today. So, as part of the founder drop today, if you own a founder token today... Yes! So this is... If you go get founder tokens, you will get this thing. This is the last founder drop. It is coming today. Word for word from Mitch's post. Tomorrow, today, will be the final airdrop for founder token holders since launch last year. To top off this momentous occasion, this airdrop will feature something never seen before. Hope you're all as excited as I am with the picture that is on the screen now. So, nothing out there on what it is yet, but a unique this thing for founder tokens today to celebrate the final founder token drop. So, if you weren't already, like, you know, I think we've talked about it more than enough, but in my opinion, there's like a million reasons to own one. Founder chat being probably the most, the highest on that list. I tend to hang out in founder chat the most. Actually, that's a lie. I tend to hang out in my own settlement chat the most, and then founder chat. I think we also need to focus a little bit on building up some scavenging XP of all things. So we were trying to get it up to like a reasonable level. With other people sitting at like 150, 200 scavenging, it always felt a little like, what am I doing down here at 110? I play all the time. Why is my scavenging so low? Hey, I really like the colored pop-ups here for this kind of stuff. I need to make a note to mention colored toasters for library research. So like novice through novice through master papers should be colored. Yeah, colored toasters are great. Alright, that looks pretty good. I think we've hit most of the leaks, so we're really just like taking some player questions. If anyone wants to know anything. I think we cleaned all these things, right? All of our habitats should be good to go. I think. Any update on Martisan Wave 3? I think those have been coming, because Wave 4 is being dropped now in the glitter shop, right? Yeah, you can buy Wave 4 down here, too. I mean, Winnie, I think you're asking it as sort of a joke of, like, a bit of a joke, but I really like talking about that specific question in a broader sense. Like, the meaning of life on Mars, like, looking at humanity as a whole, and, like, humanity becoming an interplanetary species means that, like, some big disaster event, say we're self-sufficient on Mars, we have capture technology, we're able to basically keep a settlement alive independent of support from Earth way in the future. That's the concept behind Million on Mars. I think it was that for it to be economically stable from Elon Musk's point of view, it was like 1 million people needed to settle the planet. I don't know that quote myself, that's just what had been told to me. But the idea that if humanity becomes an interplanetary species, that some big disaster event wiping out Earth means that humanity continues because we exist elsewhere is like such a cool, like, achieving that level of safety for us as a planet or as a species is crazy. Like, that's such an awesome concept, such a cool thing to go explore. Excuse me. Just get excited about science and future stuff. Surprised there's not a lot of Martisans in the marketplace. Yeah, people are holding them now. People are like, I need a Martisan to train up because there's so many skills coming that are Martisan specific, right? If you look at the training hall and you look at the bottom, you'll see that these new skills, aerospace is Martisan only, cooking is Martisan only, entertainment's Martisan only, and entrepreneurship is Martisan only. Why does the Polar Workshop have its own pool, but the other buildings do not? They're all split up differently, and we're very open to moving stuff around as it makes sense to do so. Have to head out early. Have a good rest of the stream. Thanks for tuning in, Jeff. Always appreciate you. Glitter? What do you want to know about Glitter? It drops when the founder tokens claim it. It's coming for Martisans soon as well. It's another reason to pick them up. Yeah. Here's a question. I know you're not from the US, but do you have a turkey cheese sandwich today? No, Canadians celebrated Turkey Day about a month ago. We celebrate in October. So we definitely had turkey sandwiches back then. Not today, though. That's why I'm holding my Martisans. Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, we're definitely holding a lot for, we're holding some of the higher payroll ones for their glitter drops, which I don't think we can actually check their payroll on here. I think we have to go somewhere else to look at that, but that's okay. Sweet. Well, what? Yeah, what? Yes? What? Yes? 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 Person in chat, please? Oh, thank you, person in chat. Mad JD84. Thank you. Thank you for the building. Much appreciated. Inventory tab shows payroll from artisans. Thank you. Thank you, Magic Mike. If the 4 new skills are Martisans only, does that mean you'll have to have them to play? You'll need them to use those skills initially, but I don't. So I think like owning the Martisan lets you like play the skill before anybody else, but eventually if those skills are coming to players, then you'll get them over time. I don't think it's exclusively locked for Martisans only long term, unless that's what's announced. Because I think it's planned like aerospace and cooking will eventually come to players, but I think entrepreneurship and entertainment might be Martisan only, period. But also all of that is like to come to be announced, so yeah, Mythic 3D print shop. That's pretty sweet. I'm always happy to pick up like old school buildings, like stuff you can't get anymore. Like you can't open factory packs anymore. There's nowhere to acquire those things as far as I'm aware. And so buying up lots of those, like owning 38 rare machine shops, because someday the Gen 3s will be all you can make. You can't even get these old guys anymore. Uncommon thorium reactor shards? Man, I don't know. Like, looking at the price to upgrade this thing. So this is going to cost me 4,500 to upgrade the reactor? I mean, I guess. I'll put in the buy order. 45 at 105. Ugh. Oh, it hurts. Yeah, I'll leave that up. 27 of them. Okay, we'll take another 18 and then we'll upgrade that thing. We're just burning through Dusk today like it's nothing. Oh, surveys come in. Dusk immediately gone on all the stuff we want to buy. Would you roll a new Martisan, or is it better to buy one that you know the stats? So the gamble there is that if you roll a new one, you have a chance of getting something awesome and way up there. If you buy one from the market, you can actually find one near the floor that has really good skills that somebody is underpricing, right? So, you know, that's sort of the two ends of the thing. Two ends of the stick. Two balances of the scale. Is there a saying? You're like, those are the two options. Is that... We're just making up idioms today, I guess. Oh, boy. Well, I guess we can try and read Chapter 3 here today. It was a planned thing. It is something that we should be trying. Two ends of the spectrum, sure. Alright. We're doing 5 common comp shards to Magic Mike. We have a common composter to give away at the end of the stream. And we'll probably open one more thing before the end of the stream as well. Any halite that we could spare? Probably. We also need to... we have a couple other things we need to do. We need to do a Rusty Rigs. We need to go to the shop and do a degen pack. And then we can go see if we have any halite we could spare. Is it over 1 though? No, see, at 0.1 something, like I'm still holding. This is coming up. This is way under. I'm still vastly buying at this price. Halite is salt. Salt is going to be used in food, right? Like, it has to be, right? Gotta hold on this. This is like one of the only things I won't sell, as well as my pile of waste. Yeah, sitting on so much waste, waiting for this guy to skyrocket. Anyway, claim your research papers if you haven't already. The thing that we always forget to do ourselves. Sure, yeah. How many do you need, Brutal Days? We'll hook you up with like a couple. Just if you're speculating, we're not about to drop all of ours. Well, I don't know what your buy order is, but I assume it's less than 500. We'll probably fill it by doing this. There you go. And we'll grab some more reactor shards. Perfect. Of course, we're buying the reactor shards after we restarted the next task, so we probably could have waited a couple days to do this, but I tend to forget, so it's better for me to just buy the shards next time I go to restart. 3K! You can have the 500. Surveyor coins. Yeah, are people using their surveyor coins on fun stuff? Surveyor coins. Martisan Degen pack. More libraries. I feel like we already have lots of libraries that we just haven't placed, though. Like, our inventory has a lot of buildings kicking around that were, like 5 legendary smelters, machine shops, chem labs. We have 2 mining rigs that we haven't placed. We have 8 greenhouses that we haven't placed. Yeah, a couple of mythic build. Yeah, we just bought this mythic building. Got some thorium reactors, but we can't place more thorium reactors because we can't get the uranium to even turn them on. Like, I do have another one placed over here and upgraded to the point where we're almost able to use Energy Core 3, but we have no way to get uranium to turn it on. Oh yeah, inventory screen's so good now. So much improvement. When is the composter getting a buff? It stops seed sowing until done losing seeds. So seed sowing is net return on seeds right now. It might be a loss on Dusk, but that's the market, that's not the task. The task makes seeds. Thorium task, well, so we can't really do anything with the thorium right now. Oh, where's our cooking Martisan? There you are. We need a way to get uranium, so we need, like, oh, I don't know, a uranium mine or some, like, a uranium. I think there were some uranium things added to the market, right? Depleted uranium sensor. I feel like there was some other things that were here that were hidden. Oh, I see what you're saying. Smelt thorium, but yeah, I mean, that's a 5% chance and burns through so much regolith. For anyone who's not aware, smelting thorium does give a 5% chance of uranium, but burns through 50,000 regolith. So, yep, Kelly, it's not always profit return on seeds. There are chances that you could lose seeds, but in general, you gain seeds by doing it over time. On average, you gain seeds. Not always, but on average. There we go. Okay. Burn 1,000,000 regolith, and then on average you get 1 uranium. Yeah, we can't do it right now. I'm like, I don't need more reactors going. I'm creating lots of energy cores. I don't know how many energy cores we're sitting on now. It's got to be a decent amount though. Yeah, 84 energy cores. I'm sure there's people out there with more, but like, we've invested pretty significantly into creating these things. So we're gonna sit on them for now. We've made all of these ourselves, by the way. Not the empty ones. We buy the empty ones usually because we're lazy. I think we could be making the empty ones too. We have the space in our engineering bay that we could be making empty cores. Oh, we just need PVC and copper are the things we're short on. Well, I don't need to delve into that production chain where I could just pay people to do this. High machining level though. This is honestly, if there's someone with, if you're out there and you've got 50 machining, it might be worth making these to sell to people. I'm sure there's profit there. Because of the high requirement and people are lazy. All right. We're coming up on roughly an hour here, so we're going to try and make our way over to Chapter 3. Switching to Chapter 3 also means that we need to mute our audio. Zoom in a little bit. Oh, I know someone told me something for this, like, just the other day, and I've already forgotten what they told me, but that's okay. Oh, boy. Oh, we broke something. Oh, geez. Chapter 3 is action-packed. All right, well, there you go. We'll get Chapter 3 up on screen here, and we'll make our way through. Boop, boop, boop. Boop. Nope, okay. That's one step too far. That's what we're learning here. We can do this, and we can do 3 things. Yeah, sorry, Moorcox. I should read that before I read the next chapter. This is fine for now. All right. So we're doing our video split for recording Chapter 3, and we're doing 101-ish. Chapter 3, start. All right, and we'll give it a go. So apologies if I'm not looking at chat for the next little bit. I will be reading. Chapter 3, Beto. Beto? Beto. Let's confirm it's Beto, right? Before we start reading the chapter and butcher the name the full way through. Is the only chapter I have? Yeah, I've just reading the Discord and looking at people talking about stuff. I think these are the chapters that people are pretty hyped for. It's the character that people like the most, which is why I should probably say the name correctly. Beto? Beto? Someone who knows more than me. Let's go find a person. Hey, Dyson Man, making your way in. The second way you said it is because it's Spanish? Beto? Beto, not Beto. Yeah. Beto. Yeah, okay. All right. Change my start time. 1:03. All right. Beto it is, and then any other words we'll butcher our way through and make our way past, and it's fine. Bebeto. Alright. Chapter 3, Beto. July 2031 to October 2032. The original on-air outburst that made him famous was before the Great Disaster. Later accounts conflated the dates, which suited the overall narrative of the origin story of Beto McCoy. But let the record reflect, Beto was always a bit spicy. They were still 4 months outside Mars' orbit when they did the final live on-air interview with Space News Today. The setup was cute. An audience member would be chosen by the host Delta V to ask a question of the crew, who were floating inside the HAB module of the rocket on live video, streaming to a huge monitor in studio. During the 2 to 4 minutes of lag while the question traveled across space to the rocket, the astronauts would smile silently and do cheerful funny things like twiddle their thumbs. Then they'd answer the question. Then they'd wait silently as though listening to the host for 10 seconds. Then they'd wave and say bye-bye for 5 to 10 seconds. Then switch off the audio and video connections. During the 4 to 5 minute round trip delay to get the response, the host would turn her attention to the NASA chef accompanying her in studio, and he in turn would explain to the audience the meal plan for the day on board. In this way, the American public would get a tiny science lesson about the vastness of space and enormity of the accomplishment, while also consuming a morning-appropriate segment that brought our heroes' everyday lives down to Earth. The host would catch the answer and quickly thank the astronauts, and they would appear to say goodbye and end the segment. Delta chose an audience member seemingly at random, but in reality had looked at the audience through her New View Model S glasses and quickly scanned the 3 people highlighted. As she focused on each one on screen, she could see the person's first name, university affiliation, and notes from her producer, Donald Howard University. Questions about forms of governance in early Mars settlements. Celia, NYU, likes the environment. Rusty, LSU, wants to know how to become an astronaut. Boring. First kid, too political. The girl would be earnest and smart. Delta pictured hard-working immigrant parents with a dry cleaner business in Brooklyn. Celia at NYU on scholarship with an approaching engineering degree, probably grad school next. As soon as Celia opened her mouth, Delta knew she had miscalculated. Celia repositioned her body slightly and pushed her left foot out to the side and propped her hand on her hip. Delta realized the shoes were Brett by Brad's, worth a whole semester's tuition right there. The question was well-formed and delivered with confidence, poise, and honest expectation of a sincere and considered answer, entitled to a Montessori graduate. Did you know that for the estimated cost of this entire mission, including housing and feeding just the 9 of you for 2.5 years, we could afford to house all of the unhoused people in America and feed them for life? How do you justify this use of resources for indulgences like finding new places to colonize versus helping out here at home? Mercifully, the studio audience was just quiet. Recalculating, Celia was probably a political science major and clerking for someone important this summer. She was probably trying to raise her social influence score in conjunction with social issues as prep to get a staff job on a political campaign. Clever. Not offensive, exactly. Still, Delta knew this was off message for the morning. She attempted to deflect. Turning and facing the screen with the still smiling faces of the astronaut corps, 4 minutes in the past, Delta smiled broadly and said, "What a great question. Team StarQuest, tell us about why human settlements are so important." Then she gave her full attention to Chef Mark Morris from NASA to learn about how micronutrients are preserved in MREs. Delta saw Celia standing awkwardly in her peripheral vision, unsure of whether she'd have some follow-up interaction. But Delta just froze her out until a producer quietly grabbed her elbow and helped her sit down again. Delta was game enough to drink some orange juice in a plastic pouch and tell the audience it wasn't anything compared to oranges from her grandmother's grove, but it sure beat the mimosas at most restaurants. Chef Morris talked about long shelf time and low-sodium diets, and finally Delta got the visual flash in glasses that warned her the video feed for the crew had caught up to the question, and soon they'd be providing their on-air answer. Look at that. 5 minutes and just over 40 seconds, it looks like the crew is catching up. There's that question about the importance of our space program. In the second surprise of the morning, it wasn't Commander Lauren Barnes who started to answer, it was Beto McCoy. McCoy was mostly known as the lighthearted one, often playing a little tune on the ukulele or waxing rhapsodic about Texas Rangers or sometimes giving a chemistry lesson. He tended to avoid any sort of political commentary. "Well, that's not exactly what she said now, is it, Delta? Miss Celia, is it?" "Celia, I certainly agree it would be a good thing if we all got oriented around the things on Earth that would serve the common good, but it seems like we're just not wired that way. I mean, we're managing to raise carbon dioxide levels in our atmosphere so fast that your population of hungry and displaced people is going to increase by 1,000-fold or more in the next century, no matter how many astronauts you embarrass on national television. By a wide measure, we seem to have rejected the idea of any kind of personal sacrifice in favor of the common good for as long as anyone can remember. With just the tiniest of efforts, for example, we could create a great national park in our country, a Buffalo Commons, that would act as a carbon sink for the continent, while restoring some gorgeous land to its native splendor. In a true irony, the regions of the 8 states that would be affected by this, including my own state's West Texas region, have been naturally depopulating for nearly a century. It's like humans as a whole have some wisdom. The idea of Buffalo Commons has been around since before I was born, but it has only managed to collect momentum in the very fringes of public culture. These are the types of sensible things we could rally around together, but we do not. However, time marches forward, and our species has grown to the point that our consumption of resources cannot be met by our beautiful home planet. Just to make sure you continue to have enough lithium in the batteries used to make the watches and glasses that allow you to learn about this stuff, some of us have to get into space and collect resources from asteroids. It's the only way we're going to live long enough. Excuse me. It's the only way we're going to live long enough to be able to house all the people without homes. Although with the clarity of mind provided by a long and tedious voyage, punctuated by the occasional terror that is this spaceship, I can sincerely suggest, Why don't we just start by taxing the churches and let them take tax deductions when they actually do their jobs, caring for local communities, housed or unhoused, and I'll keep on finding us more minerals. Beto finally fell silent. Then the crew of Team StarQuest, well trained at following checklists and momentarily too stunned to be entertaining on their feet, simply waited the 10 seconds as instructed and then waved and said, "Bye-bye, talk to y'all soon, God bless the USA." Then Lauren switched off the AV feeds. Apologies. Just had to clear my throat there before we kept going. Alright. Well, Beto, we have about 5 minutes until we hear from Terry back in Mission Control. Shall we do a quick medical check? Hopefully you have a fever. Beto wasn't really in the mood for Lauren today. Still fully in the throes of righteous pride at his absolutely correct outburst, he unwisely rolled his eyes and floated up towards the bridge. Lauren, honestly, can't we just drop the rah-rah just a bit? NASA's not even in charge here, and you know as well as I do that Leon Dusk loved what I said. Beto saw the flash of anger on Lauren's face before it turned to genuine compassion. I know you're frustrated, Beto, but none of the discussions among the powers that be have anything to do with this mission, nor will your emotional investment in them help us succeed. Always about the mission. That's why she was the commander. Discussions? We've been cut off at the knees, Lauren. That annoying girl was at least half right. If we're not working on mining in situ, we're on a bit of a boondoggle, aren't we? It seems like our scope keeps getting reduced, our PR keeps getting reduced, and we're told less and less about why. We're only here because Dusk embarrassed the Duval administration. If he'd sent in his private astronauts instead to be the first boots on Mars, we'd be on that Boeing rocket that's shadowing us, working on whatever the real priority is. Lauren looked like she was struggling for the right measured response, but was rescued by the sudden incoming message from Terry. StarQuest, this is Mission Control. Given McCoy's emotional state, please rotate him to immediate crew rest in his quarters for the next 36 hours. Medical update requested. Beto rubbed his eyes and sighed. When he looked up, Melnick was floating in the hatch with the medkit and apologetic look. Beto submitted to the thermometer in his mouth and flashlight in his eyes. Mission Control, this is Chris Melnick. McCoy vitals are all nominal. No one said anything as Beto grabbed his notebook and floated back towards crew quarters. He was almost out of earshot from the bridge when he heard the next message come in. Terry again, but sounding, if possible, more irritated this time. StarQuest Mission Control. Reduce McCoy crew rest to 18 hours, then McCoy is to record a 5-minute layman primer on asteroid mining for Mr. Dusk's Twitter. Please send a draft for editing in 24 hours. Acknowledged. Thank you. Beto was starting to have that feeling in the pit of his stomach that told him that sometime soon he was going to realize that he had been the jerk after all. Whatever. Everything about NASA was starting to chafe him. No, not NASA. NASA's bosses. The government. Being a government worker. Being a mushroom. Kept in the dark and fed. Beto pulled out his notebook and began to sketch diagrams. He dusted off a little orbital mechanics and looked at the pork chop plot he had been sketching for their return from Mars. NASA and SpaceX had calculated all of this, of course, but Beto took pride in being more than just a guy along for the ride. He confirmed again for himself what they'd already planned. With the amount of extra fuel already waiting at base camp, generated by Sabatier reactors on the surface, the rover mission, since the rover prep mission 2 years ago, they'd have enough fuel to get home if they had to turn around and leave immediately upon landing. It wouldn't be ideal, and the return would be longer than 9 months, but they'd have enough supplies to make it. They'd have to get that refuel and launch done within 14 days, though, or they'd have to wait for the next launch window that opened February 5th, 2033. Beto was finally absorbing in his full body the true weight of his commitment. Unless something went badly wrong right at the start, he would mark 456 days in the 456 days in the harshest environment to human life that Homo sapiens had ever attempted to make home. Almost 1,000 days in total, from takeoff to splashdown, until he'd be back home in Texas. Those week-long jaunts to the Lunar Gateway were feeling like day hikes now, and this was climbing Mount Everest. He amused himself by making a small hash mark on the inside of his cover to mark his time like a hostage. He had the dissonant thought that he wasn't even supposed to be here, and the guilty pile-on idea that he was taking a spot meant for someone better suited to it. He was qualified, of course. He'd always qualified for everything. Got the grades, joined the football team, made quarterback, kept a good attitude, dated the best girls, got into the right colleges, and studied the best engineering disciplines to keep his options open. Joined the Air Force to be a patriot. Applied to the elite astronaut corps. Cricket. Okay. And was of course selected because what else could they be looking for? He kept climbing the ladder because he wanted to be able to step off anytime he wanted on his own terms, but he had absolutely no idea what his terms might be. There was no way to fully fill his time with work tasks on a 9-month voyage to Mars. All the food was pre-prepared, and the ship was equipped with multiple redundant sensors for any conceivable equipment failure. And only so many scientific experiments could run on board without access to the bulk of equipment in the payload area. For the first time in his memory, he'd been forced to wrestle with his own unruly thoughts. Perhaps he'd launch a post-NASA career hosting mediation retreats for hopeless Type A people on long space voyages. He tried to nap, but couldn't stop replaying in his head the exchange with the girl on Delta V's show. Why had he brought up the Buffalo Commons? Beto had been thinking a lot lately about the carbon levels in the atmosphere, as a big part of his research on settling Mars. His primary area of expertise was the Sabatier reaction. He would be doing a lot of research on the energy consumption of reactors, scaled to provide enough oxygen and methane for the needs of one person. His research had been diligently conducted, and on Earth, in the months before boarding his flight, he found himself accessing a database that contains some classified atmospheric information. Beto didn't think twice before accessing his NASA account to authenticate and start browsing the research. Most of the really concrete information that he needed on levels of CO2 and rate of change with global warming, etc. was classified, simply because the capabilities of whatever instrument captured it were classified. There were a lot of military satellites out there doing various things, including capturing basic weather measurements, so he wasn't expecting to learn anything truly new, just get precision on data he already knew and expected to see. So when he idly clicked on a report titled Evidence of Cognitive Decline at Lower CO2 Concentrations from 2025, and it was stamped top secret and reviewed by the president, in actual ink on the scanned copy, he didn't realize he was uncorking the greatest secret of the decade, and possibly of human civilization. In summary, it was a report from the WHO and NASA confirming a correlation between elevated levels of average CO2 parts per million, over 400 ppm, and lower cognitive performance across human populations, normalized for all other factors. It opened with a review of the commonly accepted wisdom that CO2 would start causing cognitive decline around 900 ppm, and it appeared the real threshold was less than half that. While it was true that the above baseline exposure to 1000 ppm situations in crowded rooms and whatnot caused the decline, it also now became clear that when the body could never return to a sub 400 ppm environment for at least part of the day, it never got a chance to fully cleanse the concentration from its bloodstream, and the decline was advanced. Furthermore, this effect was amplified in newborns and toddlers, so all babies born after about May 9th, 2013 forward were suffering from a lower cap on their overall academic potential versus babies born earlier. This cognitive decline would exhibit first as an increased anxiousness and exhaustion among the population. Beto was thunderstruck to realize the Miller administration had kept this secret for at least 5 years. Surely there was a plan to address this, mitigate it, fix it, or at least slow it down by curbing CO2 emissions. CO2 emissions were crossing 500 ppm, and scientists believed the peak would be at no less than 650 ppm. Even with aggressive action from here, Beto didn't have a lot of time before his rocket launched, and no one needed to tell him explicitly that NASA frowned on its astronauts getting stirred by politics, so he didn't say anything to anyone at work. He did call his mom, though. Are you sure you're understanding what you're reading, honey? Linda McCoy no longer had room in her imagination for anyone's propaganda. Getting too immersed in the affairs of the day did nothing but put her family in danger. This sounds like a study designed to produce panic, and those are dangerous. Mom, I don't think so. This was from scientists, not legislators and regulators. Well, I hope you're wrong, or I hope it kills me quickly, or I hope you find a cure for it in space. Mom, that's not what I'm saying. I no longer think we're going to find a cure for anything in space or anywhere. We've been getting steadily dumber since 2013. Lower attention span, higher anxiety, more forgetful. Doesn't that make sense when you really concentrate and think about it? The world started to get really strange from that point forward. I don't think we're going to figure out the rest of what we need to start mining asteroids, Mom. And even if we do, we're going to get dumber for the next 200 years or more while CO2 levels continue to rise. We're going to go backwards during that time. I don't feel like I'm doing anything meaningful for anyone. Oh, honey, you can't think like that. The loss of hope is the most toxic thing in the world. If you really believe all this is true, then you need to go find a way it could be better and just keep this whole thing to yourself until you have that answer. Beto took off 10 days later, and his mom was cheering him on from Mission Control. November 7th, 2031. The landings came off as planned. The support starship landed first 1 kilometer from the base camp. After confirming the location, StarQuest flipped into the atmosphere, applied reverse thrusters, and deployed its parachute to slide into a landing, in between the first rocket and the base camp. Beto and the team sat quietly for a moment in wonder. They'd done it. They were the first humans to ever land on Mars, and they began to adjust to some gravity after 9 months in flight. Lauren made the triumphant message back to Mission Control. They all climbed down the ladder to the bottom hatch and stood side by side on the crane platform that would lower them to the surface. When they reached the ground, Lauren launched a handheld drone to fly out in front of them and get video of the historic event for posterity. She took a few tentative steps along the terrain, and the rest of the team withheld their cheers to let her make a statement. On this day, the human epoch on Mars begins. It is our honor to begin work to restore the planet to nourish us and to continue to spread life through the solar system. Beto smiled slightly as he waited his turn to depart the platform. Terry had wielded his tiny bit of power back at Houston to try and put Beto in his place one more time, cooking up a reason to reorder the arrival so he'd be last to set foot on the surface. No matter, being ninth to set foot on an alien planet felt perfectly exhilarating today. Filled with warm feelings for his teammates and the adventure that lay ahead, Beto took a moment to look around and appreciate the scenery, which was as expansive and desolate as he'd imagined, but much less exotic. Perhaps one day he'd even get to see pine trees growing on the gentle slopes of the hills, as they do at Pico de Orizaba. Once again, he was back in a warm place of gratitude for the adventures. After Barnes, Kendall Kovalenko was next, with a brief wave and smile at the drone. Then Chris Melnick, a salute. Bonnie Levy stumbled a little off the step, which led Ryan Chong behind her to reach out for her shoulder and step off himself. They both walked with an awkward gait and arms carefully out at their sides for balance. No on-camera antics from either. Sarah Spector stepped down and waved her arms above her head and waggled her hips. Glenn Corbley and Josie Backham, always good for a laugh, had clearly colluded. Glenn stepped down first, moved forward a step, and paused with his torso leaning slightly forward and one arm crooked at the elbow with a hand pointing up and the other behind him. Josie stepped behind him and assumed the same pose, and they started walking in a synchronized robotic dance for a few steps, mugging for the camera. Finally, Beto's turn. He looked down the big step onto the regolith and thought for a moment. It felt good to have some weight on the joints again. He knew he'd have some acclimating to do, but he'd been working out religiously, and he knew his muscle mass and bone density were good. Ah, screw it. He thought about his best catch ever as quarterback, a grand leap where his fingers touched the ball just as he got tackled. Rotating in the air, he'd managed to move the defender below him so he hit the ground on his back with Beto's weight on top of him. Beto had used the momentum to roll off and start running to spike the ball into the end zone. He had this. Beto turned sideways and executed the perfect cartwheel off the platform. Miscalculating slightly for no air drag and the increased rotational velocity as he came off the raised platform, he came up a little fast, so recovered by doing a second cartwheel in sequence, and ended with both hands up, waving and smiling at the drone. It felt fantastic, and he knew the folks at home would love it. Then he turned his head and saw Lauren's face through her visor, though it wiped the smile right off his face. She was right. If he'd torn a hole in his suit or hit another astronaut, he was a hazard to himself and others. He vowed to get back to towing the line. Through the helmet comms, he said, "Sorry, I just got a little excited." The team established local control with the rover over at base camp, and Chong drove it expertly with the tablet to their position. They lowered the first container with their arrival gear onto the rover's roof. Climbing inside, they settled in for the short ride back to camp. It would need a name, but NASA had generously left that open to the crew to decide when they got there. By NASA standards, this was to be a highly autonomous operation, with a 17-minute one-way communication lag between the planet. It wasn't practical for Mission Control to try and handle the crew like they were remote mouse pointers. Beto comforted himself with the thought that NASA was excellent at what they did, and they had done a full psychological battery on him. Sure, some of his free thinking was thought of as valuable. Surely some of his free thinking was thought of as valuable. In just a few minutes, they had arrived at camp, which Lauren was calling Waterloo as a trial balloon. It was a sturdy-looking concrete dwelling with big windows. They drove into the garage/airlock and waited for the rover to be rinsed off and air recycled before they disembarked. They all descended the stairs to the ground while wearing their suits just to be safe. They walked through the acoustic scrubber to vibrate the dust from their suits, and they toured the facility briefly. Then, returning to the airlock to remove their suits, they entered the hab properly. Beto stretched his arms over his head and did a few torso twists. It did feel good to be on solid ground, and at 1/3 weight was a trip. Beto bounced on the balls of his feet a couple times to test the feeling. "All right, that'll do, Simone Biles," Lauren noted dryly. Josie piped up from the comm center where she'd taken up a chair. "Look, Beto, you're a meme." Josie scooted the chair back and showed her scrolling Twitter feed, which was full of gifs of Beto cartwheeling and variations on the phrase, "Sorry, I got a little excited." He didn't have a chance to say anything before Lauren made an actual tired lady facepalm and said, "Okay, fine. You've got the first shift on comms and media." November 21st, 2031. Back at home, Grandma Calvo would be getting to work brining a turkey for Thanksgiving. No one in the family ate much meat anymore, but they kept some traditions. Only Grammy retained the ancient knowledge of cooking a bird to keep it moist, which Beto and his cousins kept trying to establish as an old Tejano recipe. But Grammy was unsentimental every year when she'd explain that she'd learned the overall technique from Alton Brown's cooking show, where he broke down the science of temperature and salinity and whatnot. The Moncalvo McCoy clan were rationalists through and through. Here at base camp, Corbley was doing his best to dress up some MREs with all the fixings in the microwave. He was wearing a festive Thanksgiving apron and chef's hat. He'd managed to harvest a few tiny lettuce leaves from the new greenhouse and some cherry tomatoes they'd grown in flight and harvested not long after landing, so they'd have a little fresh salad with their dinner. A drone was buzzing around his head as he described what he was doing for the team, probably a new segment on Space News Today, and so Beto remembered to keep a cheerful countenance and wave when the camera pointed his way. Privately, though, he was marking his own milestone. They were outside the pork chop to return. February 5th, 2033 or bust. 452 days to go. Hey, all you great-looking folks. This is Beto here at Camp Rubicon. We are 100 souls into the mission to make humans the first multi-planetary species. You know why I call this Rubicon? Because we can't go back. We're at a point where we need to do this. Did you know that? That's right. We humans need more space to roam than we have on just good planet Earth, so we're expanding into the rest of the solar system, like a college grad moving into a condo. This puts us really close to the asteroid belt, which has lots of minerals and metals we need. Since we've mined a lot on Earth, it's also easier to process those metals into final products and send them back into space or home to Earth, since we have a lower gravity well here. More on gravity wells in another segment. So that's why I'm here, trying to make this place habitable. Today I'm painting some of this bioluminescent paint on the inside of this lava tube. We brought these cans all the way from Earth, but the paint is made from algae, and we're working on growing all the ingredients here so we can manufacture more of it if it works. It seals these walls, which contain a dust called perchlorate. Perchlorate is found on Earth too, but here it's in concentrations that are highly toxic to humans, and unfortunately it's in all the dirt here. This paint contains the bacteria that consumes perchlorate and outgasses oxygen. It also glows in the dark, which is a really nice feature since we humans will be spending a lot of time in underground places like this. Why is that? Well, solar wind and meteors. That's right, that big thick blanket of air on Earth is kept there by its magnetosphere, and Mars lost that billions of years ago. All that air pressure provides all y'all with the luxury of just walking outside and breathing. Ain't that something? It also prevents lots of small meteors from crashing into the planet every day. Like this. Editor's note. Please splice in a few seconds of video of that steaming little crater I filmed 2 sols ago. So tiny little rocks come flying in here every day, and they sometimes hit our pressurized habs and so forth. So we're looking to take advantage of the natural shelters we have available to us as much as possible. One day in 100 or 200 years, heliophysicists believe that we'll be able to construct an artificial magnetosphere for Mars way out in deep space, and that'll let the atmosphere warm and thicken here. With a warm, wet surface, we can plant grasses and trees that exhale oxygen and make the gaseous mix at the surface closer to something we can breathe. We might just be 10 generations away from humans walking in shirt sleeves right out here on the surface, maybe with a little supplemental oxygen. But right now, those future generations need all of us to keep making plans that will let them live as well or better as we live on Earth right now. So we need to keep learning and improving. I got another question from you all about the Buffalo Commons idea. If you do your research, you'll see that we can make a big impact on reducing carbon dioxide in our own atmosphere by taking actions like the Buffalo Commons, and we can live better now while we prepare for a better future. We just need to focus. Get outside, pay attention, and focus. It'll be a heck of a lot cooler if we do it together. Okay, that's about enough for today. Beto out. Beto pressed stop on his wrist display and sent the segment to NASA. He finished painting a wall with the white paint and tidied his supplies into a mini rover. Less than a year to go. He was starting to feel good again. He had purpose in his mission and a plan forming for when he got home. He wanted to work on making Buffalo Commons a reality. Seoul 214. That's June 14th for you guys at home. I'm approaching the halfway point on this mission. Not gonna lie, looking forward to steak dinner on a beach somewhere. Beto was about to report on methane production and oxygen production when he heard Chong cry out from the other room. Kovalenko, did you see that strike out north, maybe 500 meters? Kovalenko was outside the hab in her suit, setting up a case full of drones, called dragonflies, to map in fine detail the surrounding 30 square kilometers. She reported back through the speaker on Chong's panel, "No, but I see the dust cloud. I'll go check it out?" Okay. Chong sounded nervous. The dust cloud in question was a distinct plume about the size and shape of the tornado that flattened Dorothy's farm in The Wizard of Oz. Due to the thin atmosphere and reduced gravity, dust that got it stirred into the atmosphere tended to hang in space for much longer time than it would on Earth. Something wrong, Ryan? Beto looked around to see if he could spy Lauren nearby. I got a visual on it. My eyes might be playing tricks on me, but it was falling too slow. As Beto watched Kovalenko clamber carefully into a buggy and start driving towards the dust plume, Chong used the inside panel to dispatch one of the dragonflies to mark the spot where it was beginning to settle. Once it got in place, Beto couldn't resist crowding on the monitor next to Ryan as they watched the dragonfly's view as it descended a bit towards the fallen object. Both men exhaled when they realized it was already covered in a layer of regolith. Kovalenko arrived and jumped down from the buggy, approaching the dragonfly. She squatted carefully and reached down, brushing the regolith off the top of the object. Already something was strange, as any meteor should have been too hot to touch. Then she reached down and pulled it up for all of them to view. It was another dragonfly. Not one of theirs. It had a CNSA logo on it. It was a lightweight model, which meant it had to have been launched from somewhere less than 10 kilometers away. Kovalenko looked around the landscape, but she didn't see anything different than the usual harsh and lifeless surroundings. With a shudder, she threw the drone in the back of the buggy and drove towards the hab. NASA had thanked them for information on the drone and advised them to store it far afield of the hab in one of the waste drums, and then it was never mentioned again. Beto wasn't surprised. Apparently we lacked the attention span for outrage over things like espionage anymore. Beto knew the China National Space Agency had landed some rovers a couple weeks before their arrival, but they were supposed to be thousands of kilometers away, near Labyrinthus Noctis. Not close enough for anyone to come by for dinner. October 1st, 2032. 127 days left, something like 123 souls. There was an uptick in momentum building around camp, as the team started preparations to go home and leave the base intact for Crew 2. StarQuest's return flight was scheduled to depart February 5th, and Crew 2 wouldn't arrive until the end of the year, so plans had to be made for automatic watering of the plants in progress in the greenhouse, long-term protection of tools from the elements, and so forth. Beto joked with Barnes that he should try and hit one of the flying dragonflies with his golf ball, and they could reinvent skeet shooting on Mars. Lauren made a show of protecting the case full of drones as he walked by her outside in a light suit. It was an especially clear day and warm outside. Beto had warm feelings for the universe and all the people in it. He was so lucky to be in this privileged place of knowing what needed to be done and having the resources to work on the right things. Honest to God, those were his thoughts that morning. He racked his brain many times later for the details, and this was the conclusion each time. He had a little spring in his step as he launched the Hummingbird, a tiny drone that just buzzed around him and recorded audio and video. He had a mic inside his helmet for the main audio track, but he sometimes used the weird audio signals picked up by the Hummingbird mic to complete the sound on his videos. The sound of the golf ball whooshing through space would happen at a slower speed than on Earth, and fall silent faster. It would add a perfect eerie touch to the episode. He was starting to really get a handle on the content that they liked. Hey all, Beto here from Mars Rubicon 1. Got to thinking about playing a little golf this morning. I brought this 7-iron with me all the way from Houston, and I'm just breaking it out now. That's a crime, right? A golf ball should catch a lot of extra air here. Can you guess why? Yes, it's our old friend air pressure. It's less than 1% of Earth's air pressure, so that's a lot less drag on the ball as it flies. So it'll fly farther, faster. Let's see what the Hummingbird says. Track. With that, Beto leaned over and dropped the ball on the regolith and got arranged in a practice form to hit the ball. The Hummingbird drone was slowly backing up and away from Beto in the direction the club indicated the ball would fly. He lifted the club in a quick practice swing and swung again and connected with the ball with a satisfying pop. The Hummingbird camera swiveled as it tracked the ball across the landscape until it finally hit the ground and started rolling. How long was that drive? Beto asked his wrist, reading the display and replying to the camera. Wow, 2,043 feet. I just so happened to have some video NASA took of me at the driving range with the same club a week before I left on Earth. On that day, I hit 275 feet. Now, I haven't just been eating my Wheaties. That decreased wind resistance and lower gravity helped keep that ball aloft, but you heard it here first. Golf Mars. Hummingbird, track me. Okay, let's walk over and see what Chris Melnick's doing in the lava tube. We can see Commander Barnes has already dispatched some dragonflies to go pick up my golf ball out there. We try to be really conscious of anything we leave in the environment here. Seems like a thing we should work on some more at home. Anyway, so on over to Melnick, who's studying some crop growth in the test gardens out here. Beto looked over at Barnes, who noticed him and the Hummingbird and shot a picture-perfect smile and wave in the direction of the drone, and then turned his attention back to Melnick. In the entrance to the lava tube, which was only 200 meters away from the hab, and in the distance beyond the hab, the StarQuest could be seen. StarQuest's shadow, Remus, was directly behind Beto by about a kilometer. So it was that 17 minutes later, Mission Control in Houston and a small collection of people watching NASA's live stream on YouTube saw the shutter, saw Beto pause and assess whether it was an earthquake, and start to walk towards the lava tube with a bit more purpose. And then the hab get hit. Beto was knocked to the ground from the shudder of the close-by impact. He hit the ground hard, and there was a puff of fire and rising cloud of dust just behind him. Beto stood up and appeared to briefly consider running for the hab before pausing at the sound picking up on his mic, along with his now heavier breathing. What, a meteor? He appeared to say, looking at a small steaming hole near his right foot, and turning left and running at full speed towards the lava tube entrance. The Hummingbird tracked him over and above his left shoulder all the way to the tube entrance, and then ducked down and in with him. Melnick looked stunned, standing with the alert button in his hand. The hab is struck, he said. There's a lot going on. Are we under attack? Beto surveyed the landscape as best he could from that vantage point. He could hear a terrible groaning from the direction of StarQuest, but he couldn't see it through all the dust. He could just make out Barnes trying to run in his direction, but dragging her leg and falling. He ran back into the melee towards her. As he looked at his feet, he realized the steaming holes were spreading damp, spongy regolith. The ground was soft, and he twisted his ankle and fell forward at one point, catching himself and pressing on towards Lauren. He grabbed her, and it was clear it was bad. She had a gash in the leg of her suit, and the auto tourniquet had deployed so it was making her entire leg numb, and she was drifting in and out of consciousness. Beto wrapped her arm around his neck and ran, pulling her along with him as best he could. When he got closer and Melnick could see what he was doing, he ran out towards him and grabbed Lauren's left arm around his shoulder, and together they dragged her into the cave entrance. Inside, they could hear low-frequency booms, which was terrifying, as sound travels such a short distance on low-pressure Mars. That meant the sounds were unimaginably loud and large wherever they were originating. Melnick grabbed the first aid kit for the toxic perchlorate dust in any wounds, and Beto pushed the emergency pressure button, which blew out an airbag with a hatch ring, and he used to pull over the three of them and secure the plastic door in the ring, causing a ding and the sound of positive air pressure. At this point, the hummingbird was outside the giant plastic bag that was the emergency shelter, but it was still tracking Beto. So it saw in shadow through the translucent plastic as Melnick and McCoy cut off Barnes' suit, wiping her down with what was probably perchlorate wipes. And then Melnick dressing and bandaging a wound on her thigh while McCoy removed her helmet and squeezed some water into her mouth. Then he covered her mouth and nose with a respirator. He and Melnick then carefully wiped all the dust they could see off themselves and the interior of the bubble before taking their helmets off and stripping down to their undersuits. At that point, the comms receiver dish and its backup were both destroyed, so the hummingbird stopped transmitting. It kept flying outside the plastic bag, fixed on McCoy's location, until it ran out of batteries 4 hours later and flew quietly to the floor and stopped. It startled Beto, who had been sitting up awake alone for the last hour. He'd been trying to watch what he could through the layer of thick plastic, now a bit foggy with condensation, out through the mouth of the cave and towards the hab and the two rockets standing unprotected. Those were definitely rocks raining down. Ejecta. There had been an asteroid strike nearby. That he was certain about. There was another low boom. He saw in the middle distance a puff of fire quickly extinguished. Must have been the saboteur reactor, igniting the methane in its storage tank fed by the oxygen tank next to it until the oxygen was consumed. That was definitely bad. Beto couldn't see through the dust if the hab was totally destroyed, and he had no network access on any device that he could access. He kept hearing a terrible groan, and finally he was impelled to try and see further to the north of his field of vision by pulling the whole shelter towards the mouth of the cave. Barnes was unconscious on the floor of the cave. She hadn't quite regained consciousness completely since the incident began. Melnick had finally collapsed when the adrenaline wore off, and curled up on his side and closed his eyes. Beto pulled on the shelter till it was snug around the two of them at the back of the cave, and peeked out around the corner. There he saw the emergency lights on all over StarQuest as she listed to a terrible angle off the vertical, and the metal groaning each time she shifted. Finally, the other saboteur reactor between the rocket and the hab blew much like the other one, and for a brief moment the entire landscape was well lit. Beto could see the terrible truth that the hab was rubble, and their ride home was listing precariously. It would never fly off the surface. The backup rocket, Remus, appeared to still be upright, but was doubtlessly being pummeled by small ballistic rocks as well. Beto tried to think of a way out, some kind of plan. He moved back towards the inside of the cave, giving Barnes and Melnick a bigger bubble of air around them to help with any claustrophobia, and then sat down trying not to hyperventilate. They had enough air for 21 days for 9 people, so 63 days for 3 people. They could reach the emergency MREs and water, which would last 30 days, and they just needed to figure out how to get enough food and fuel onto a working rocket to go home. The nearest help was a year away. As Beto pondered this, he felt a shudder and heard a sickening noise, and realized StarQuest had completely fallen over to the regolith. Oh! Man, what a wild chapter, hey? The Beto chapters are just like, I haven't read that. Like, I think I stopped back when it was chapter 3.5, maybe? Let's get our music turned back on. Yeah, I think I like reading entire like all of a book all at once, right? And so I think I read chapter 1 and 2 as they came out, and then I read half of chapter 3 or maybe half of chapter 4, wherever it was that they paused. So maybe I had read chapter 3 way back when. It sounded pretty familiar. Man, do they revisit this? Like, I'm so hooked on, like, do they make it? Do they get off? What happened? Like, I want more of Beto's story for sure. Are there more Beto chapters? Velma, okay. Chapter 5, Chapter 8, Chapter 11. Okay, cool. We keep going. We get more of it, hopefully. I can't even look. Those images are probably all spoilers. Probably shouldn't look at all that. Coffee is skyrocketing because of cooking. OG Halo player, there's a post in Discord that talks a little bit about what's going on there. I have an uncommon land deed Gen 2. Nice. So you need to go find an open spot on Mars in order to claim a plot of land with it. I think currently that might be MC 18, 23. I'll have to ask around. People usually have the latest one. Just checking to see. This is good. I'll show this off from DK. Do we click some rusty rigs? We'll click some more rusty rigs for sure. Will yeast be used in cooking? I mean, probably. If we're making bread, then yeah. But, I mean, yeast is used in lots of recipes. The weekly drops. Today is the last Founders drop. None of the maps here have any available plots. I mean, there's got to be open plots somewhere. My globe is a little bit slow on Google Chrome, so I'm not really able to go searching easily for you to help you out. But really, you just kind of click around to the different MCs until you find the one that currently has open space. I clicked on an artifact here by accident. You won't be able to post a link, Marinko. But if you want to let us know the MC number, then we can we'll pass it along. What's the Discord post on coffee? Currently driving, so can't check, but feel free to ignore if you don't want to explain it. It was Ruler talked about it earlier. What was the gist of it? It was basically like new recipes are coming for coffee. Was the thing that people got hyped on. MC18. Okay, there you go. Our poor globe. MC18 Coprades? We have room in Coprades? Doesn't look like it. No public plots available. But our globe is really, it's suffering right now, so we won't put it through too much more pain there. We'll grab this. Look at that. We could train a fabrication level now that we're wrapping up, because we're not getting another one going. Yeah, thank you, Ruler. That post. Because we're not going to be able to restart another one before the end of the stream. And we will open one last special pack. Because the last one was a common. We want to try and open something that's not a common so we can give that away. Please. Anything that's not a common. Anything else? Anything else that any other thing? Now we've tried. We've done so many rusty rigs today. All right, and we'll give one of these guys away as well. So we have the common composter and anything under a mythic. We will give it away. Another common. All right, common composters for everybody today, I suppose. Let us set up our. Where's our buttons? Buttons for giveaways. Yep. Oh, we've clicked Rusty Rigs so many times today. M13, there you go. This is done. We need to add a giveaway for custom. We have 2 common composters to give away today. 2 minutes to enter. Common composter. Add. Yeah, we've been pressing Rusty Rigs like pretty often. If anyone's tracking how many we did today, it's definitely been a fair bit. Okay, so if you're someone who's new here and you've never entered before, you do have to do !raffle to join the giveaway. You do need to be following the channel. You cannot win the raffle if you're not following the channel. We have 2 common composters to give away. We need wax addresses after people win. If you're someone who's brand new to the stream, you're commenting for the first time, you're just tuning in today, definitely let us know, what do you enjoy about Million on Mars? What kind of stuff do you, are you doing on a regular basis? What tasks are fun? What kind of stuff you got going on in your own setup? Is there any production chain that you like the most? Anything like that, any of that fun stuff. Sweet, yeah. Let us know all that stuff. Okay. Purchasing this pack did not seem to go as planned. Maybe a little refresh there. It's not having a good time. I guess it worked. I suppose the way to check if we won would be the loot log, activity log. We got some scavenging XP. That's fine, though. And I guess this market order probably... Oh, no, we still have 8 more shards that we're trying to buy there. That's fine. !raffle. Anyone who hasn't gotten their name in, you've got about a minute left to do so. 30 seconds, actually. 30 seconds to get your name in. You have to follow the channel if you want a chance to win. And, yeah. We're gonna wrap up and we're gonna ship out all the content that we've made today on YouTube. We're gonna get Chapter 3 out there for everybody. And if you haven't already seen it, over on the YouTube, we got a couple different things going on. We have the red live videos, we have the blue tutorial content, and we have the yellow lore content. So keep an eye on each of those different things, depending on what it is that you like watching over on YouTube. Alright. And, yeah, for everyone who's tuning in today, we're going to give away 2 common composters. First one is going to Salem View. Salem View. Say hello if you're here. Drop your wax address in the chat. Are we using all of our martisans? We're using a good amount of our martisans, yes. Pretty much everyone is using all their stamina every day. Hey, someone who's been around for a fair amount of time. Asked some questions back in March. Happy to have you. Welcome to the stream. Drop your wax address in the chat, and we'll make sure we send you that common composter in-game. Yeah, absolutely. We can. We'll hop over there, Moorcox, and we'll show people how to use the common, or how to claim a land deed. Oh, I need a wax address from Magic Mike as well for those 5 composter shards as well. But yeah, let me pop this open. Click on this guy. So you can see that some of these are a little darker than others. The dark ones are open plots that are available to be claimed. So you click on one of those, you click on claim plot, and you use a land deed to claim that plot. We're not going to do this because we don't want to use our legendary land deeds like out in a random spot. We try to keep all of our stuff together, right? Thank you. Much appreciated. You are 5 common composter shards for guessing correctly on our roll there. We're gonna head back to our plots. Yeah, and it'll ask if you want to put it on Wax or Solana. Okay, and one last winner for another common composter is... Hey, Samantha, congrats! Is that 2 weeks in a row? I think, did you won something last week, right? Woo! Drop your Wax address in the chat. We'll get that sent your way. Yeah, send us your Wax address. We'll get that all figured out and sorted. I don't think we're training anything else or doing anything major before we call it a day today. I think everything else is more or less done. We don't really have any Martisans left with any stamina. Everyone's tapped out. Everyone's been fed. No one needs food. All of our glitter's been claimed. Finished just in time for the US game. Hey, there you go. Alright, so we'll get... I think we'll be able to track down... Yeah, there we go. Do this guy. That's fine. Alright, perfect. So thanks everyone for tuning in today. Really appreciate everyone coming and hanging out. If you haven't already, make your way over to the YouTube. Really good content over there. Like... the yellow, the red, the blue, the new color scheme of like what content you want to consume being like very clearly labeled and colored makes it super straightforward now. Shout out to our fantastic new graphic designer for coming up with all of that stuff. If you haven't already, make your way over to the Discord. Come join the community. Super friendly people. Fantastic group over there. Love hanging out with everybody. And if you haven't already, make your way over to the Cheese Discord at some point. We're watching movies tonight and playing poker, as we do every Friday. Another really friendly community, great little team to be a part of. All right. Thank you, everybody. I hope everyone's having a fantastic Thanksgiving if you're from the U.S., and an amazing weekend if you're from anywhere else. Not that you can't have an amazing weekend if you're in the U.S., but do what you can. All right. We'll catch everyone next Friday, and hope everyone has a great day. All right, later.